Welcome back to another video. So this one's slightly different. Today we're covering the Heckler Koch Generation 1 to Generation 3 polymer magazine, most commonly used in the HK416, and also the newer generation HK433, which they released not too long ago. So initially they came out with this magazine, which took over from their standard steel ones. Steel ones, quite heavy, but they were really quite good, heavy duty, etc. They came out with this design. It's quite bulky and awkward. The magazine floor plate was also a pain to get off. You had to pull it out and pull back, which I can't do on camera. There's a small tab, if I can get it to focus in on here. There's a small tab in there which holds it in place, which is a pain to get off. Absolute pain to get off. So yeah, so they transitioned over to the Generation 2, which much nicer. It's slimmer, it's not bulky. Texturing is great. Texturing is quite good in it. You can get a nice firm grip. Obviously the design is quite nice as well. The follower is pretty much the same, albeit slightly different material, slightly different geometry, ever so slight. And obviously the floor plate here is much easier to get off. Let's see if I can get it to focus. Anyway, the floor plate is much easier to get off. I'll show you that in a moment. So then we come over to the Generation 3 magazines. So far they've come out with 3 colors. The black, this kind of tan color, and this sand type color. So initially they came out with the black, as far as I can recall. Yeah, so the design was quite substantially changed from Generation 2. They've added capacity windows on the side and at the back right here, so you can see how many rounds are loaded in, etc., how many rounds capacity you have. So they changed the geometry, the design, they made it more sturdy, and they have this ledge at the back, much like a Magpul Generation 3. It has this ledge at the back to stop over insertion. And this one does include a feed lip, stripper clip, loading guides over here. So you can push in a stripper clip loader and then push in the rounds. And obviously this one here, the geometry of the follower was changed quite substantially on this one. Slightly different material again, and material on both of these is pretty much the same material. However, obviously the design has changed. And this one again, the floor plate is much easier to take off, and I'll show you that in a moment also. Yeah, so they've come out with 3 colors for the most recent design, and they're pretty nice magazine. I haven't had a chance to try these out yet. I'll have a go and try out these magazines here soon. So I'm going to take apart these 3 right here and show you the differences between each one. And yeah, we can take a look at that. Just give me a moment. So it took me quite a while just to get the floor plate off, and I'll show you that in a moment. So as you can see here, it has this kind of double ledge, so it catches on this little nub right here, and it's quite a pain to get off. So let's let the follower out. Spring isn't captive, it doesn't hold in place on the follower, but just give me a moment. I'll put these to the side, and we can compare them against the Generation 2 and 3. So So it's much easier to get this magazine floor plate off, much easier. As you can see, this one actually has a floor plate that's attached to the spring. This one does not have one. Yep. So let's get the third spring out. This is also just as easy as the Generation 2, albeit this one is captive, as you can see here, which you can get it off as well, but I'm not going to do that right now. And you can see with this spring follower here, the floor plate and the spring are both captive, but you can obviously disassemble them if you do wish to. As you can see with this magazine, look at this here. The system is, once you pull it back, it stays captive and it just swings out of the way. You can pull one side out and take it off, which I'll attempt to do. There we go. There we go. Did it right there. Pretty simple, pretty straightforward. So let's take a look at these springs themselves. Obviously, with the third generation, you have capacity windows, so they've marked the spring here, so you know where your rounds are or how many rounds you have in the magazine. With this floor plate, they have it marked HK, whereas the other two, they're plain. Now, with the first two, let's get it off. Here we go. With the Generation 1 and Generation 2, they're pretty much the same, as you can see, albeit pretty much the same. They're probably interchangeable. I haven't tried that. I'm not going to try it now. Yeah. But the material is slightly different. As with the springs, they seem to be the same thing, same material. However, I can't tell. But with the excuse me, with the Generation 3, there is a difference in the finishing on the spring. Not quite sure what finishing they used. And with the follower itself, geometry has changed slightly compared to the other ones. As you can see, the shape's slightly different. Actually, it looks similar to a Magpul one. And the follower itself here, as you can see, they've beefed it up to improve the anti-tilt properties of it. Yeah, they've just beefed it all up all round, much better. As you can see, yeah, floor plates. I mean, floor plates are floor plates. This one's closer to this. However, it isn't captive like this one is, or this one can be. This one is literally a pain. So let me show you the dimensions internally between the three mags, if the light allows it. Here we go. Internally, the Generation 2 and 3 are pretty much the same. The first one is slightly different. It doesn't have as many reinforced ribbing on the internals as the Generation 2 and 3. Sorry, let me say that again. I've said that the wrong way around, haven't I? Yeah, the top is the Generation 3. The Generation 3 internally seems to be smoother, and it doesn't have the extra ribbing that the Generation 1 and 2 have. They're more similar, Generation 1 and 2 compared to the Generation 3. So I'm going to reassemble these and get back on. See, pretty easy to do. There we go. It's a pain. There we go. One. Two. You get the third on. Much easier to get the the floor plate, base plate on compared to taking it off. That is if we can get the spring to keep in place, because it doesn't have It doesn't have a floor, a floor plate. See, much easier to get on than getting it off. So yeah, those are the newest. These are three of the newest generation of Heckler and Koch polymer magazine. Whereas these two, the old ones, they do still seem to have some of these in the market. Whereas these three aren't really available much at the moment. This one is kind of available in the market, whereas this one you may see them, you may not see them. This one has been on the market for quite some time. I don't think they produce these anymore because I haven't seen any new ones on the market in the last year and a half, 2 years. So yeah, just a quick overview of the magazines. Hope you enjoyed the video. Make sure to like, share and subscribe, and consider joining the family on Patreon so you can see behind the scenes, get exclusive access, etc., etc., to content and stuff that we don't share elsewhere. Yep, thanks for watching.